Illawarra! Illawarra! And people don't believe in Wollongong, doubt us all year. You better start believing because we'll be back next year.
Ball driving. 7 seconds left. He pulls the trigger. Big shot taker. Big shot maker. Tyler Harvey enormous.
Oh, yes. Welcome back to the Hawks Hangout. We are back from Bali. A quick massive shout out to everyone that went. Jennifer Ryan and her family, Dave Simonite and his family. Big, massive shout out and much love to Natalia and Renee. At the moment, we know you're listening. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. Hopefully you feel better soon. Corey, you guys escaped the good old little Bali belly, but myself, oh my goodness me, was I on my deathbed. Speaking of deathbed, I thought the Hawks were going to be absolutely on their deathbed, but they've absolutely pulled out some humongous wins. We're going to cover the Perth 92-87 loss, the Tassie 101-97 win, and 107-97 win. Won by 10.
Sorry, my bad. That should be 91.
That's okay. All good. And then the Brisbane 113-75 win, and then preview the up-and-coming games. What else have we got in store, mate?
Yeah, we're going to look at our regular segments. Are you serious? Yeah, nah, and hashtag all the rest of it. Before we get started, I want to thank our amazing sponsors, Principal Brewing, Enable U2, and 18th Dynasty. Yes, you're very correct. We're just back from Bali, and a lot of people had the runs.
Oh, yeah.
And let's hope the Hawks can go on a little bit of a run because they've got back-to-back victories, which has been great. So let's hope that can happen and we can get some benefit out of people being very, very sick in Bali. So let's get started, mate, with that game against the Perth Pussycats. Our traditional win when we go to Bali just didn't happen.
Nope.
And that was a bit of a weird game. We didn't get blown out or anything, but I never really felt during the game we were going to win the game. It was a very slow start. We only had 13 points in the first quarter, and it was close most of the way. But like I said, I just never really felt like the Hawks were going to win that game. And I think probably the biggest difference was Perth's big four of JLA, Henschel, Doolittle, and who's their fourth? No, not Wagstaff.
Windler.
Windler was at those. Yeah. Their big four all contributed like double-figure points, near double-figure rebounds. They were contributed to a high level, while the Hawks' big three struggled. So Harvey only had 11, McGee only had 8, Sam only had 6, and they combined for a 10 of 34 from the field. So to only get down 5 was probably not a bad effort. Like, who were some of the guys who performed well for the Hawks?
Oh, Blanchfield and Whining, obviously. They had 6 and 13 respectfully. Blanchfield had 4 of 9 shooting, and Whining was 3 of 5 shooting from 3. So both of them came back and were absolutely outstanding when the team needed them most. Hickey, showing his vintage self. I don't know if someone lit a firecracker up him, but he's been going in there. And he had 14, 5, and 7 in that game. It was a different one for me, and that's probably why we didn't win the game. That was obviously when I went down being sick and was cooped up in the hotel room, didn't get to go out for dinner, didn't go and get to watch the game. It was, there was no vibe towards it, and I was pretty much dead in bed. So I didn't get to watch the game. But by all accounts, from what I've seen and heard, we did put up a fight, but it was just that first quarter that really let us down.
Yeah, and I think the interesting part of the game though, it was probably a good game for Toddy because he'd been struggling, and for him to top score with 16 and hit 4 threes was a good thing. But I noticed towards the end of that game, the game was still on the line, and he stuck with a really unusual 5. There was no McGee, there was no Froling. I think Harvey tweaked a little bit of an ankle, so he was unavailable, but they stuck with a lineup of a Bales, Gritter, Blanchfield, Narkle, and they went with that at the end of the game, and they he sort of rolled with it. So I don't know whether he was making a bit of a statement that he was sort of saying you know what, the starters haven't performed, we're going to go with these guys, and they almost snuck it out. But like I said, I never felt like we were going to win that game. But let's move on to the next game where we start our little winning streak. We faced Tassie, who were definitely undermanned, and everyone thought this was a game that the Hawks should win, but we've learned from the past that doesn't mean you're going to get the win. The Hawks have lost to undermanned teams this season already. They lost to Cairns at home, who were out a couple of key players, and it was very frustrating because when you look back at the season, that could be a costly loss if we miss the 6 by a win or so. But Tassie again won. We won every quarter except the third. Tassie did well. Like, respect to Tassie. I have a lot of respect for them. They kept it close, but the Hawks were in control for the most part of it. And Tassie had no answer for the Twin Towers, mate. Let's talk about what they provided.
McGee had 23 and 8 rebounds. It was almost his 17th career double-double in the NBL so far, which is absolutely ridiculous. Sam Froling coming back from injury, which no one expected to come back this early. We were expecting him to come back now. But he had another huge dominant performance with 16 and 3. Our man, QJ, Pulp, non-fiction, scoring 19, 5 and 6. And it was really good to win, Corey,
100%.
because Harvey in 28 minutes only scored 6 points in the 28 minutes. But the real standout in these past few games, and we're going to touch a bit later on about all of this, but Greeter, he had 12, 2 and 2, and Hickey had 15, 1 and 6. Those two players have been the driving force behind both of these wins at the moment. And it's been absolutely great to see because both of them have come into this team, into this culture and this town with little to no basketball experience and have just been handed the keys and they've rocked it.
Really interesting. And we'll go a little bit more in depth a little bit later in our regular segments. But we've been sort of calling for they're both coming off the bench. And Hickey coming off the bench and is having a real spark. And I don't think there's any coincidence that has led to his return of form. Coming off the bench, not worrying about starting the game, just coming on and doing the little things right. And his stats have definitely improved and his impact on games has improved because of that. And we'll talk a little bit about the fives and the rotations that are happening. But again, it's no coincidence that these guys who are coming off the bench are the guys who were part of the championship last year, who are used to playing and coming on and having that like impact when we really need it, and playing against the other players, starters who might be a little bit tired, or the other team's benches, and having a really big impact. So great win against Tassie. It was one that we definitely needed. We were expected to win, but they got the job done. Even though there were times I was a little bit like worried, but anytime they got it back to 6, we seemed to get it back out to 10, and it never really got like, oh my God, they're only like one basket away. So, but then let's move on to this next game. It was an absolutely crushing defeat of Brisbane. Absolutely dominated from start to finish. It was a huge 113-75 victory. Could have even been more, but I thought it was the right decision. They took the foot off the pedal probably in the last 5 minutes or so and gave the other guys a run. You don't want, I know people are talking about points percentage, and we'll talk a little bit about that later, but I think it's more important to get the win and not have an injury to a star player that could stop our run. Wins are the most important thing. If we keep winning, I think the percentage will probably take care of itself. But I don't know if like winning by an extra 10 points was going to make much of a difference in this game. So let's talk about it. First, straight up, there was a huge 41-point third quarter, and third quarters have been like our bit of Achilles heel this season. So having that 41-point third quarter really put the game. It was probably the first time this season where I've actually been able to watch a whole game and been pretty relaxed. Like, pretty much didn't have to like worry and be like, oh, can they come back? It was like we were up by 30 on last quarter, even more. It was like the Hawks
was almost at
50
at one.
I think it was 40.
We were at 50 at one stage.
I think we were up by 45 going to the last quarter. It's almost like even if we didn't score in the last quarter, we probably would have won. So it was pretty good just to chill and relax and watch that. But what were some of the performances that you thought were notable? In
the limited minutes that most of these team players had, like the most that had the most minutes was Harvey. He had 25 minutes and he scored 22, 6 and 5. So he was back to his vintage Harvey self. And him coming off the bench, which we're going to speak about later, has really allowed him to flourish in the role that he has been brought into play necessarily. It's why we scouted him 5 years ago. It's why he's getting naturalized, hopefully, and hopefully it's sooner rather than later. But it just allows him to really not have that focus on him as a point guard or as a 2 guard. He can just go in. He can play a little bit of a mix of a 1-2, maybe even a 2-3 there at some times, depending on what the lineup is. But he was absolutely outstanding. Some other dominant performances were obviously the Twin Towers. You had McGee finishing the game with 18 and 10 in 17 minutes. Froling had 14, 5 and 5 in 18 minutes. which was absolutely ridiculous. Blanchfield had 10 and 5. Hickey 17, 3 and 7. Greeter 13 and 3. QJ 15, 2 and 4. Absolutely bloody ridiculous.
7 players in double figures, and only one of them playing over 20 minutes. The others were like around the 20, like 20 or under. That's really incredible performance from the Hawks. But I thought the key to the game is we actually started really slow. I think it was 5-4 after about 5 minutes with the starters. And we came on, and within a couple of minutes, Gritter makes 2 huge plays, and all of a sudden we're up 14-7. And then like we just could take a little bit of a breath, and we kept building on that lead. It was 22-11 at quarter time. Brisbane couldn't hit a 3 to save their life. I think they were 1 of 10. Like the Hawks didn't shoot great from 3. I think they ended the game 8 for 24, but Brisbane only hit 8 threes as well, and from about 30-something attempts. So the game was well and truly over when Brisbane started hitting some threes. Like we were up by 30 plus. So they didn't really impact the game. So it was, but one key stat that was huge in the game, and we'll talk about a little bit more later, was the 27 from 27 free throws, which was an NBL record. I won't go too much into it, but I thought a key part of that was the fact that the Twin Towers, who have been indifferent at the line this year, went 10 of 10 combined, which is unbelievable. I think Froling hit 4 and McGee hit 6 from 6. And also Hickey, who's also been indifferent, and Peatling were Hickey 4 from 4 and Peatling 2 from 2. So it wasn't just like 27 from 27 with Harvey hitting the majority of them. It was the guys who traditionally struggled at the line who got the job done. So that was very, very pleasing to see that, because we've said even last year, mate, we would say free throws were our killer. This year it seems to be turnovers, free throws, but it was great to see that. But let's move on now to the preview of the huge game that will be on Thursday. When this episode comes out, that might be on that day. So big game for the Hawks against the Kings, who have actually absolutely owned us this season, totally dominated. We still got to play them 2 more times, which could really decide our season. We're going to have to turn it around and find a way, because Sydney look red hot at the moment. And you just checked before, they are now the competition favourites in the betting market. And they probably rightly deserve it. They're playing some really good basketball. Torrey Craig seems to be a great addition. He's taking over that Bukol defensive role, but also offering a little bit more on the offensive end for them. And he's a big body who can defend smaller guys, and he's just making it really hard for them. Like against Adelaide the other day, he restricted Cotton greatly until right near the end. I know Cotton got some scrappy points when the game was sort of over. He had 6 late, but before that, I think he only had about 7. He was struggling. And this guy's pretty much single-handedly like making them a title contender. And KD is playing really well. I think that's going to be the key. We have to stop. Someone has to stop KD. It's probably going to be Wani, Gritter, chipping in there. But what else do you think are some really key points in this game against the Queens?
I really think it's our inside dominance. I think establishing it early and establishing it fast will help us in the long run. They seem to play a lot more faster and up tempo now that they've got Torrey Craig in the lineup. Obviously, Delhi's not back. Big, massive out for them. They've obviously got Bukwal out, but they've still got absolute firepower. They've got, Kawatnoi, Galloway, Xavier Cooks, Tim Suarez, Torrey Craig, Kendrick Davis. You've still got people coming off the bench like
they don't really have
Hunter Goodrich.
They don't have. I think Hunter. Last game I saw, Hunter wasn't dressed to play, so maybe he might be injured too, which could be a great thing because he definitely gets under McGee's skin. But they don't really have a back to the basket presence. Really, Goodrich is the only sort of guy. Suarez is not really a back to the basket post up sort of guy. We know that Cooks can, but in that matchup with McGee, you think McGee is going to give him the presence that might put him off change some shots and so forth. So it's going to be interesting. They haven't really played McGee and Froling together lately. So it's going to be interesting to see if they do that against the Kings and maybe surround those two with some shooters, 3 shooters or whatever. I'm not too sure, but it's going to be interesting. I think it's a clear advantage we have over Sydney is Froling and McGee, I think, can dominate Suarez, Goodrich if he plays, Cooks. But they also have the ability to play quicker as well. Cooks can run the floor, push the ball.
Yeah,
he's good around the basket.
Their wing depth is
and he's
unmatched.
got and Suarez can stretch and he can hit the three. So it's going to be interesting. But I'm not going to lie. I do think I'm very worried about this game. Kings have shown that not only are they in great form, but they've shown that they've played really well against us. So they're going to go in with plenty of confidence. So hopefully the Hawks can come with some energy. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with their lineups. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But that's a game we definitely, I don't know if we have to win, but it would be a bonus if we win. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. But let's talk about the game that I think we definitely have to win on Saturday at the WEC, playing the Perth Pussycats again. After playing them in Hoops Fest, we finally get to play this team at home after playing them 3 times in Perth. Surely we're gonna have a chip on our shoulder with this. I know Tatum definitely will, and he'll want the Hawks to come out fired up from the start, because this is a team I really believe the Hawks can beat. Now, Perth seem to have a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit more about this later in another segment. There seems to be a little bit of a clash happening. They lost a game that they shouldn't have lost the other day to Melbourne. They were in control of that game and just blew it at the end. But I just feel like we can do well. If we play strong defensively and can hit our threes, we are a real chance to beat Perth. I think we match up quite well against them. And I know that they've got a couple of key outs, and they do lack a little bit of point guard play at the moment with really being out. So I think this is a definite winnable game. I know we've beaten Perth once this year and they've beaten us twice, I believe, but all the games have been fairly close. And I think it's a game that the Hawks really can win. We need the crowd to get behind the boys, put pressure on this Perth team, get under their skin, and really make sure we finish this game on top, because this is definitely a must-win game. What do you think?
It definitely is a must-win game. Obviously, that Kings game, whilst there is going to be pressure on the boys, there's not really as much pressure. If they get it done, fantastic, because a win is a win and we need every single win that we can at the moment. But Perth is a really easy and beatable team, and we'll talk about it a little bit later about this matchup between JLA, Christian Doolittle, between Sam Froling, between JaVale McGee. But I really think that if the Hawks come out and play strong against the Kings tomorrow night, we're recording this on Wednesday, so hopefully I'm going to say tonight because it'll be uploaded tomorrow morning. But Thursday night, we're playing against the Kings. I really feel like if we get that win, we're going to carry momentum back into home. We've then got Perth at home. We then have who at home?
Then we've got 2 more home games. We've got to play Adelaide at home. And then I believe we've got
New Zealand. And then we come back. We've got 1 more home game.
What's the home game? Who's our last home game? I'm trying to think who it is. Is it it's not Tassie?
No, Tassie's back in Tassie.
Is it the Kings? It's the Kings. We've got the
Kings
at home
again.
So we got the Kings. I think we play them on Valentine's Day Eve, the 13th. Is that right? Have I got the order of the games? Is that the 13th?
So we have Kings tonight. We have Saturday 31st, Perth against Illawarra at home. Thursday 5th of February, Illawarra against Adelaide. Then we've got to trek it all the way out to New Zealand. We play against New Zealand. Then we come back home and it's Sydney. Then we've got Melbourne and Tassie
to finish off.
And that is our season.
So this game again, I really think, and we'll talk a little bit about that, but we need to win at least one of the next 2.
Oh yeah.
So super important. But let's move on. Reviews, previews done. Let's look at our regular segments. First one is, are you serious? I've got 4 nominees for this episode. The first one is, are you serious? JLA and Doolittle. Now, I'm going to say this is mostly JLA because I've seen this guy personally in action, but the little feud between them at the end of the game wasn't a great look in my opinion. They did blow a game. They should have won that game against Melbourne, but they absolutely blew it at the end from nowhere. And Milton Doyle was obviously, again, clutch. He's got that clutch gene and did really well. But Perth really blew it. They had about a 5-point lead with a minute to go or something in a very low-scoring game. So 5 points in a game when both teams are only in 70s, it's probably feels like it should be a 10-point lead because points are obviously hard to come by, and they blew it. And JLA, he's a funny character. I think his temperament is probably what's held him back in playing at a higher level. I did witness it myself when we went to the Blitz in Canberra, and we were sitting courtside, and teams were coming in and out and getting ready for games, and he was walking. There was a guy in the crowd. He's only a young guy, maybe in his 20s, like saying something to JLA, like give it to him a little bit, but it wasn't over the top ridiculous or anything. He was just giving him a bit of banter. If you're a professional basketball, you need to walk away from that. But I watched him. He came and looked for the guy, walked up the stairs and like conversed with the guy face to face over, like as if he was going to like fight him. In this crowd full of sense, everyone's watching. Like, just walk away.
Too egotistical.
Just walk away from that. And it seems again like he's very sensitive. Maybe Doolittle said something. And mate, we all played sport before. I know I've had a go at a teammate before, and people have had a go at me. Like, you move on, you cop it on the chin, and like whatever. Like, it's all in the heat of battle, and it's all about wanting to win and get that win. I'm assuming Doolittle's probably said something to him like, you could have done this, and he hasn't liked it. The ego's got in the way and said, well, mate, I'm $1 million man. You can't be telling me what to do. And it's just blowing up. So it's going to be very interesting. Sometimes those things can go either way. It can make a team implode, but also it can sometimes, if they get it right, bring them closer together. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if JLA is the type of guy who will take that too well and say like, yeah, sorry guys, I think he's going to be like, I'm right and you guys are wrong. Mm-hmm. So very interesting. So that's a big "Are you serious" moment. I wasn't a fan of how that played out. Next one, the big dunk from our man McGee on the young fella Holt, who has been very impressive for the Bullets, who have a very, very undermanned and have had a very unlucky season, and like they're going to be really hard to judge Brisbane because they've had so many injuries, and you do feel for them. Feels like a bit like the season we had when we had that 3-win season. We just couldn't get anything right. Every time we get an import, they get injured, and it just wouldn't work for us. But that dunk was great. He did a crossover back and forth through his leg behind his back 2 or 3 times, and then gathers the ball in one hand and then absolutely jams him going baseline. It was an absolutely...
Should be a foul.
Are you serious moment? It was
He's hooked onto him the entire time.
But incredible play. So that's our second nominee. The third one we said before, the 27 from 27 free throws with a bunch of guys who aren't traditionally been great at the line for the Hawks, like producing 100% records.
Yeah.
Big "Are you serious" from the Hawks. Mm-hmm. And the final one, Melbourne only just winning for Goulding's 500th game. I think Goulding's got a lot of Milton Doyle loving to do because he pulled that out of the bag, Milton Doyle, for that. So what is your "Are you serious" moment of the week?
JLA, Christian Doolittle, pick up your game, pick up your shit. Seriously, you're the teammates. You're supposed to be brothers. Like, you don't do that with each other. I know the Hawks have had issues this year, but you just you don't let out your frustrations with each other on the court, especially right in front of the cameras. That's just absolutely stupid. Now you look like the laughingstock of the league. Dunk by McGee on Holt, as I just said before, should have been a foul. Go and watch the replay. He's hooked his arm. He's dunked it on top of his head, and then he's just stared down the bench and ran back down the other end of the court. And it just ended up sparking us to go us on a run. I think we came down and hit another 2 threes. It was absolutely ridiculous. Melbourne only just winning for Goulding's 500th. Yes, I feel like that's a little bit of nepotism towards Chris Goulding, but that's just because I absolutely hate the flog and the flop that he is. Flop watch returning next week. But the "Are you serious" moment, 27 of 27 free throws after being absolutely terrible the week before. Terrible, like toilet water, barley belly water that I was drinking. 27 of 27. It tasted nothing better than a good old Bintang, mate. It tasted nothing better. It was great.
I love that. I actually love that "Are you serious" mate? Because if you said to me at the start of the season the Hawks would go 27 from 27 free throw, I'd give you 1,000-to-1 odds. And you know, at the end of the game, I was praying that they weren't going to get fouled in the last few minutes with those young guys on, because I was like, oh God, that pressure on those guys to continue it, and they didn't. So it was really great. But I do like that selection. Now we're going to move on to our next segment. Yeah, nah. I've got a few nominees. The first one, yeah, nah, is Dan the Man Gritter. Is he the Hawks Man of the Year? Yeah, nah.
Turn away now. Fuck yeah, of course he is. Like, Gritter, he is my absolute, like, he is the pick for, we'll get to this episode later down the track when it comes closer to the end of the season, but if he does not get the club MVP award,
Yeah.
I am going to throw absolute
Or
hands
if not players,
at that.
player, something.
If
He's
it's not
gotta-
players, player,
he's gotta
or
get something.
offensive player, like,
He's
I'm
just
sorry.
He's just been the spark for everything. And I did mention
crazy.
early in the season, we were talking about the Hawks, and I said I was hoping that Gritter could have that sort of year that Hickey had, that he jumped and had a big lift in his game.
Yep.
And he's gone pretty damn close to doing it. Like, if you look at his last 5, 6, 7 games, he's got double figure points a lot of times, but also impacted in other ways. His energy is incredible. The commentators were loving him the other night. He even got interviewed at the end of the game by Ariana Prather, and he was just so good. The way he speaks, he's just great. He's just
looking like a scroshed frog with his broken nose.
But he just smiles all the time. You can tell he just enjoys every moment, and it was so good to see Froling so happy for him. And it was great. Those two, like Froling said, I just can't speak any more highly of him. They all love him. Wollongong loves him. He epitomizes what it is to be a Hawk. And I agree with you. He is the Hawks man of the year. Next one. Yeah, nah. Hawks will beat Sydney. Quick answer. Go.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Ooh.
I feel like we can, but I feel like we can't. But then I feel like we also can at the same time. That's where I'm going to leave it.
Okay. I really think this is going to be a tough game. If we get this one, it'll be a bonus. Sydney are rolling at the moment. The Hawks are going to have to be exceptional to win this game. Next one. Yeah, nah. The Hawks should stick with the starting lineup they've been rolling out the last couple of games in our 2 victories that started this little winning streak. It'd be nice. I don't think we've had 3 in a row. Can we get that? Of McGee, Peatling, Wani, QJ, and Bale. Should they be sticking with that? Yeah, nah. Or would you mix it up?
I'd mix it up just purely for the fact that we need to establish the inside presence. I don't think I would change anything except for Peatling, and I'd bring Sam in instead.
Okay.
That would be the only thing that I change about that. I feel like Harvey has been playing a much better game off the bench. Davo, we know he plays his best game off the bench. We've seen it all of last year. It's why we won the championship. It's why he was the finals MVP of last season. But if you've got that double-headed monster of McGee and Froling in there, you've got Wani there at the 3 who can stretch the floor, can get it to the rack. You've got QJ being able to shoot the 3, and then you've got Bales as well. And he doesn't have to score the points. And it's what I said today. And you'll get to see it come out. I've been at a training camp all day with Matty Mims and Matty Ice. Watch those clips when it comes out. But as I said to them, you don't have to be that player that scores 10, 15, 20 points. You can have your 6 points, your 2 rebounds, your 5 assists. So you could have 2 points, a steal, a block, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, whatever it may be. But you're that team guy. You're setting everyone else up for the sake of your own personal stats for the team win. Yeah. And that's the kind of player that Bales is. And I feel like that's what's going to get across the line against Sydney.
Well, my opinion is it's a bit of a tough one. I can understand why he's doing it, but my biggest fear is it's shown the last couple of games we've actually, with this starting 5, started the game offensively quite slowly because really offensively it's McGee and QJ, Peatling, Wani and Bales. Offensively probably is not necessarily their strength. They all at times can, but they're not the sort of guy that really wants the ball at a late shot clock sort of thing. So teams can really focus on McGee and QJ. So, and my fear, especially against Sydney, that the game could be over in the first 5 minutes if we're not careful. So that was my concern. I do like the production coming off the bench, those other guys, because then they come on and it's that core group of guys who were in the championship team and they do get on with each other and they play really, really well together. It was great to see Froling as a bit of a facilitator, catching the ball at the free throw line and looking for those backdoor cuts and hitting. He probably got 4 or 5 assists just from that exact same play. High catch at the free throw line, turning, attracting a defender to him, dumping it down to Gritter or whoever was cutting baseline. It happened multiple times.
Beautiful and it was inside backdoor cut.
Beautiful to watch, and it was great to watch. But my concern is, I can see why he does it, but is the offensive production from this starting 5. I know the defense is there, but are they going to be able to get the points? And that's the key. So I think it may be a little bit of a balance, but I'll let the coach Tatum or trust in Tatum and see what he comes up with. But I do think that there is a big risk that the game could get away from us in the first 5 minutes against the juggernaut of Sydney. So
easily. And I just want to touch, we're talking about production of these players coming off the bench, and we should have had it in our Are You Serious? But against Brisbane, our bench, 78 points off the bench, Corey.
Love that.
78 points off the bench. Brisbane scored 75 as a team.
Yeah, that's
our
huge.
bench outscored.
Well, that's been
their
our
entire
weakness, like our strength last year, but obviously because of what's happening with the lineups, the bench is really the guys who have started a lot. So you got Froling, Harvey, and Hickey coming off the bench with Gritter and Blanchfield, who are traditionally off the bench guys, but 3 guys who have been traditional starters for us coming off the bench. So that's why that production is going to change. And it's not a bad idea because, like I said before, those guys get to play against weaker lineups or tiring starters who've started the game if their coach wants to keep them on. And that's what's going to happen against Tassie, because Tassie were playing a shorter lineup. So when these guys came on, they were playing against tiring starters and taking advantage of it. So great to see. But let's move on to our final segment, hashtag and all the rest of it.
Hey, I haven't said it. I haven't said it in a while. It's been great.
I know, but I miss it. It's the greatest. So, and all the rest of it, what needs to happen for the Hawks to make 6? Now, we've had a look into this, and there's a couple of things that we think need to happen, and we could go into depth of all the games, but there's some key things. I don't want to go into every single game, but in the next coming week, there's things that we think need to happen. So on Friday, this coming Friday, New Zealand play Melbourne, and on the same night, Tassie play Cairns. I believe we need New Zealand to lose to Melbourne, and that's in New Zealand. Can happen. New Zealand without Menenga can happen. That's not out of the range of things happening.
They've also got Shea Illy coming back. Tyson Walker's escaped to
so
concussion. So
Melbourne are looking full strength. That can happen. I'm not going to say it will, but that's what we need to happen. Tassie go away and play Cairns. Now, Tassie are definitely well undermanned, but they are a strong team. They can do anything. Cairns are capable, though. They are looking like full strength at the moment. And if they can get it together at home, that can happen. We need those 2 things to happen. If that happens, New Zealand go to 10 and 18, Tassie go to 12 and 17. Then on Feb 1st, New Zealand play Tassie. One of them has to lose, one of them has to win. We probably want New Zealand to win that game, not Tassie, because they've got more wins. So that we need New Zealand to win that, and we need New Zealand and Tassie to lose on Friday. What about the Hawks? The Hawks are currently 10 and 16. We've got these 2 games coming up against Kings and then Perth. What do we want from these next 2 games?
We really kind of need to beat both of them, because then it allows us to drop that game against Adelaide at home, because let's face it, I really can't see us beating Adelaide. I know it's
Adelaide. We're overdue to beat Adelaide.
We are overdue to beat Adelaide, and it is at home.
And they're slipping a little bit too.
So let's say we drop the game tonight against the Kings. We win against Perth. If you say we win against Adelaide, that's even huge for us, because then the next game after that, we go and play New Zealand. Then the game after that, we've got I think Tassie again, and then we've got a whole bunch of different games.
But I think if we win the next 2, we're in, and what we said before happens about New Zealand losing, Tassie losing, and then New Zealand beating Tassie.
Well,
we win the next 2, we're in 6, and then it's in our hands. We don't have to worry about anyone else. So this little burst in the next week is super important, because it can really take away having to worry about other teams losing. And we can say, well, at the end of the day, it's up to us. And that's what we're aiming for. So if we win both, we're in the 6. If we win 1 and the other things happen, we're only 1 win away from Tassie. We'll go to 11 and 17. If what we said happens, they'll be 12 and 17. Only 1 win away from them. So it still can be in our hands, because we still have to play Tassie again, and we still have to play New Zealand again.
And we're going to play Tassie again after that.
So it's still definitely would then be in our hands, but we need to get at least one of these next 2. If we lose both of these games, I feel it's over for the Hawks. 1, still in it. 2, we are right in it, and it's going to be in our hands. But I'm hoping that Tassie's hasn't got too of a difficult run home, but they have all those injuries. So no game's going to be easy, but I really do think they'll beat Brisbane, because far out, poor old Brisbane.
Can't get anything.
They're just struggling massively at the moment. So I think Tassie will definitely beat Brisbane. And then our points percentage is quite poor as well. We're like at about 112 points difference with our for and against. There's about 5 points difference with Tassie's, and there's about 40 with New Zealand. So that takes a lot to change. Like, we're going to have to win games by 20 and hope Tassie and New Zealand lose by a little bit when they lose. So it can happen, but I think we just got to worry about
ourselves
and winning games, it's going to be quite challenging to change that points percentage. If we start worrying about points percentage and forget about winning, sometimes you can make silly decisions and then you end up losing the game. So that's what needs to happen. I'm worried about the low battery on this, mate. So we might have to wrap it up. So you send us off, mate.
Mate, it's been absolutely beautiful and hectic month as always. It's been a nice little short, sweet episode, just like Corey himself, short and sweet. But that is all we have time for, folks. Thanks again for tuning in. As I said, everything will be uploaded from that Matty Ice and Matty Mims crossover event today. It was awesome to see it. Some 2 perfect American point guards. I'll tag everyone down in the comments below. They were doing their thing. They were teaching the next generation of guards in the Illawarra how to do it. They got me in there running in scrimmages, and I was soaked in sweat. Still soaked in sweat. So I'm going to go for a shower. But speaking of showers, Corey, let's hope the Hawks can just shower down some absolute misery on the Sydney Queens tonight, because that will make my life absolutely better. But Corey, as always, mate, fly your Hawks, baby.
Fly.
Fly.